It's crazy that they're picking Jhin again, by the way. You know, when we were thinking about, oh, you know, what champions like Rumble, for example, were picked.
Does clear out his camps, but Wei, I think, is really smart to just go on the other end and say, hey, I could trap Guwon in this situation.
Soburo can roam down as well. Wei knows that and flashes right on top of him. Soburo's coming for this, and Rookie's already there. Guwon, who we worried about getting behind, got taken out, and genuinely, Quacks, if Soburo had just straight up killed Hoya, it would have been better for NIP than this.
As soon as possible, just to give the scaling advantage over to their team, because both squads have a good amount of damage going into the late game. Obviously, we have Care on the Azir, we have Awesome on the Jhin, but factoring in the ornaments from Hoya as well will give them that extra little bump. Don't ever underestimate it. Could happen. I do think that Guwon has not been able to really find these opportunities that we were hoping for from him in this early game. Obviously, we are, you know, the game is still young, but Soburo is going to look for a dive with the rest of his team, Realm Warp over to the top side.
Hoya just doesn't have the mana to finish clearing out this wave effectively. Saves a little bit of it to try and turn the dive around, and that does not work. Second kill of the game going to IG once again as they use Realm Warp proactively, partnering Wei and Rookie up. Mostly what he's going to have to do through the mid game is play facilitator Jhin for a Xin Zhao who's already a little bit behind, and to keep Care safe more than anything.
And with Rakan not in the area to start up a fight here for NIP, it means that the engage would fall solely on Hoya, but he doesn't even have the Orin Horn, but Care's looking for a pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, you could always go for something like that. It does work out, gets at least the single summoner out of Rookie, but doesn't do much in the way of stopping. There's no help for.
You know, hang on, Trouble does have the flash, could go over the wall, but Xin Zhao is right there.
Wei's on the way. Love saying that, but so is Guwon, and immediately gonna get some damage landed on him. Wind becomes lightning does not connect, but Hoya does collect the kill. Will be a 1-for-1, however, as Wei trades that back onto Guwon. Ultimately, a wave gets lost topside as well.
Around this dragon, NIP desperately want to get this to tie up the Drake.
Care gonna have to play pretty far forward to make sure that happens. Wei knocked up pretty quickly and locked down. Actually could be picked off and has to flash away. Wei in a similar position has to expend that summoner himself and now dodge out on the curtain call that does connect with him, but the bullet does not curve at the end to finish him off. However, it will do its job and secure NIP the dragon. Unfortunately, perhaps at the cost of their top laner, as Hoya gets roasted alive by Soburo. That matchup going from worse to worse again, I suppose.
Yep, worse to worser for the Ornn. Hoya definitely not having a good time in this game, though. Guwon, because of the nice engage and the nice damage onto Wei.
The game goes on. Hoya's not going to be able to just stand in Rumble's face for very long, even if he is much safer. And even that is being challenged as Rookie moves up to the top side with Wei. No Rumble, no problem. They want to go for the engage, and Hoya, he's got a bunch of magic resist, but against a Wukong, that does not matter one lick. Rookie collects another kill. Rookie has to decide, and it's a pretty good decision, whether he goes for a little bit of threat on Care or a little bit of threat on Care's turret. Both of those things pretty easily accessible to a Ryze as accelerated as he. Question becomes now, does that Rift Herald translate? NIP are here to challenge it, and Rift Herald is only about half HP, so they may very well get this, given that Soburo has stayed around the bot side. Perhaps IG go, you know what? We'd rather have a turret than the Herald.
I mean, giving more gold over to Soburo definitely could be the move, but he's channeling TP. It's very late, though, for IG, if I'm being completely honest.
Joy can still go for this. We've extended an equalizer that more or less cuts straight down the middle, but Care gets sucked in by the Magnet Storm, and Soburo is absolutely here for it. Unfortunately, no members of NIP have fallen, and they are quickly turning things around on IG. Shui is 1 HP right now, and while a bullet time does force NIP to split up, their health bar is low, they still managed to get away with the Rift Herald and just a 1-for-1. Can IG change that? Photic chasing down Guwon. Rookie looking for Care, but nothing quite connects. connecting to convert on these kills. Awesome is low. Flash, Realm Warp. All right, we're making it a 1 for 2. We're making it a 1 for 2. Last auto from Photic secures that as the truth.
Who actually won that trade. But yeah, solid engage coming out here from Zhuo. I do think that it's just awesome not really being able to fully involve himself in the fight. Neither AD carry was really able to fully involve themselves in the fight. I think that if we had Photic there a little bit earlier and Awesome there just a little bit sooner, hang on.
And it doesn't even save him? I'll give it to Jin here. That's a whole lot of CC.
Top side looking for a pick onto Sobro to potentially shut down this Rumble yet again, but Sobro just backs on off, and IG do have a better foothold in the bot side river here. I feel like NIP just aren't really in a position to actually fight this, so I'm curious what they're going to do. There really aren't any alternatives around the map available. Hoya forces Flash.
Not in a position to defend the Dragon, also not in a position to defend their top laner, although maybe they decide, you know what, we lost the Dragon, we're going to do at least one of those things. Sobro gets pushed on right back into Hoya's arms, and this time with some damage to back him up.
They are going to be looking for some kind of threat onto this turret. They will be able to turn that threat into an actual punch in the mouth, as they will claim they're on Baron.
Yeah, and NIP are still very much in this. It's about actually converting that to something right now, as we do get 2 teleports up towards the top side. Hoya has joined, as is Sobro. Notably, Care is walking his way up, and if you want to win a fight as NIP, Care needs to be there.
Rookie is at a really interesting position. Does have the Realm Warp available. This is a very interesting flank, though. They found Care.
And if you can assassinate Care, you can win the fight. That works even better now as the bullet time goes right over the top of a wall and a Magnet Storm, securing a double kill for Sobro. Wei collapses back on Care and manages to secure yet another kill for IG, as that is a 4-0 in the favor of IG, very swiftly manufactured. And the Baron that started it is now not even what they're looking for first.
And the teamfight comp finally gets to teamfight. IG link up. We had questions about how they would play the 5v5s, and they are answering it with flying colors here in game number 1. A 4-0, and the Baron a foregone conclusion to end this play for themselves.
So the end of one play, start of another. Zhuo is here, and I'm rooting for it.
I feel like they're made of paper now, dude.
For the next couple of minutes, that game that I had talked about as being a little bit more even, feeling like it wasn't really one team's or another's, is firmly in the control of IG. And NIP can try and make a high-risk play to turn that around, or they can sit here and take it and see how much IG can get, whether that is enough to close things out later. Right now, it is just looking impossible to challenge, as IG are taking multiple turrets at the same time. They are inside your base, making themselves at home, grabbing a cup of coffee, sitting down on your couch, and being really disrespectful about the whole thing. It's ridiculous. And they're gonna get Dragon.
This is such a nice thing to see from IG. We talked about it in the pre-show, Dia, but this is a squad who, you know, mostly looks good in the early game. Doomed to be finish, as they are now 6.8k gold ahead, soul point complete, and NIP just feel like they are at IG's mercy.
And it has truly come down to one big difference. I suppose I should say 2 big differences, and that is the mid-jungle synergy.
Look for a fight.
NIP are kind of letting Rookie have a flank. They're manufacturing one for him, and as Photic flashes away from the Call of Forge God, he makes it almost all the way out. Zhuo is in Narnia chasing after him, and that lets NIP turn things around entirely, looking for the fight, sending Guwon into the backline, but way too late. IG are the ones coming out on top of it as Wei starts up the Dragon, and a Realm Warp forward for the rest of IG. Look for Care. Shui and Rookie seeking him in the jungle, and Zhuo playing League of Legends.
Yep, gets to witness it, unlike so many of his other teammates, as most of the NIP squad. Confident. Let's just go for the confident play. Let's go for the one that is consistent. And yeah, that definitely is taking this top side objective. IG clinical here in game number 1.
Something that NIP will have a difficult time doing again. Not just because it's hard to do, hard to manufacture, a fight that NIP will take, but because even if they do manufacture a fight that looks semi-decent, they are playing into a pretty large gold lead. Engage does go out onto Wei, popping his Guardian Angel. Let's see how well this can go for NIP as they've got Care in the backline. Bullet time over the top and over the tower does keep things pretty firmly in IG's hands, and that is only continuing as Sobro roasts NIP alive. Double kill for the Rumble, and we're gonna make it perhaps a triple. Ends up being taken away from him. IG remain firmly in control as NIP look for an ill-advised fight and come up empty-handed, maybe even losing the game here, Quex.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a wave. The death timers are really long at this point in the game.
Yeah.
IG, the first to strike in this series, a dominant showcase and a statement for the future of this best of 5.
They're looking at this as if NIP have a distinct advantage in the global ultimates and in the composition overall, something that IG need to catch up to. I think that's really telling because I wasn't feeling like IG were behind in the draft until this very moment. Yeah, I think it's awesome that we had Guwon come down here. Even now, showing on Vision seems pretty worthwhile. For as behind in farm as he is, you just keep throwing out these hooks, and one of them is going to land. Last auto by Awesome secures first blood for NIP, and IG want to answer back. In comes the Galio, and Zhuo will go down. But NIP getting first blood on Awesome is exactly what they wanted in Game 2.
Yeah, good look coming out there from Zhuo. Does give his life to the 1-for-1, but is absolutely worth it in my book because Awesome not only gets the first blood.
No!
Oh no, Awesome pushing up a little too far. Rookie does have the flash available.
Yeah, I'm not gonna burn it now. Not gonna burn it ever, it seems. That's a tough way to go. That was bot lane's presence in top lane means that NIP can and should get the Void Grubs, and maybe even a little more. They're looking for a dive on Soboro, even between the towers. Guwon's about 5 seconds behind the play, but Hoya may just be able to do this all himself as Soboro goes down. No assistance from anyone else needed, and Void Grubs are, of course, on the table.
Plated Steel Cap's not going to save you from that one. Soboro goes down, and NIP take everything on the top side, but you know, alternatively, NIP take everything on the top side, but alternatively, IG take everything on the bottom side. The Dragon will be secured there by Wei. It's a bunch of plates going over to Photic and Zhui on that part of the map as well, and Hoya isn't even able to walk up to the wave. This Renekton is a little bit homeless, to be honest with you, at the current moment, Dia.
And if we ignore Void Grubs, IG, which is big, because NIP opted into this by rotating their bot side up top side, you've basically given away your tempo around these couple of minutes for the Void Grubs. And you got to capitalize on that right now as we've got 2 ganks coming up top side, one by Wei, one by Guwon, who flashes on top of Soboro, but Care makes it a 3rd gank up to the top side, shifts the numbers in the favors of NIP, and collects a kill on Soboro.
Why send 3, or why send 2 when 3 can just as easily do the trick? Care participating in that fight with the rest of his team. They will sacrifice priority in the mid lane. So Renekton, TP, first item, doesn't have the Dominus, but this just makes him such a big threat once NIP decide to move down to this river.
Whoa! Zhuo flash engaging into a counter Wild Growth has him at half health, and Wei feeling perfectly fine. However, Guwon inserts himself right in the middle of the fight with Hoya now Stride Breaker in hand, here to back him up. It's going to be a plus 300 to Guwon and a Dragon to boot for NIP.
Pyjamas, they get the kill onto Wei, and the second Dragon will be theirs. 1-1 in the Drake score. Beautiful mid-game decisions coming out from NIP.
But a Rift Herald is going to be started up top side by NIP, and that is a contest for IG for sure, who don't want to give up Rift Herald and certainly don't want to give up the life of their top laner, both of which NIP appear to desire.
Yep.
Grand Starfall
coming in.
That puts him in a bit of an awkward place. Guwon is right here. Hoya turns back around, was expecting that the whole time. Zhui, all alone, does get a heroic entrance, but will still fall, while Sobero, out of Mega, gets taken down by Hoya. It is 2 for 1 in the favor of NIP, and a flash forward by Care wants to make that a little bit more. Maybe hasn't been too fun laning up against the magic damage resistant Rookie, but this time they will get to escort him out of his own topside jungle and turn things around. NIP, they come out the better in that trade and could still look even better as Hoya commits between the towers. No ult, no Dominus, no life for this Renekton. Perhaps NIP have pushed things too far. Good one was 1 auto away from living there and getting the res. That's so crazy. Yeah. And then this was, well, this was whatever this was.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
this was the Croc not where he was supposed to be. Is now Hoya, is he where he's supposed to be here? That is the question.
So he was, but Care got knocked off of his wall, which somehow works out for NIP. Photic pulls a Hoya and steps perhaps a little bit out of line. Something that's a bit awkward considering that Mountain Dragon is available, and now your AD carry is low. Guan going to engage in the 2v3, and he is low. Heroic entrance does buy a little bit more space, but Wei finishing the kill is what really does NIP in here. No jungler means no problem on this Dragon Secure. Hoya does jump onto Sobero, who is about to go Mega, and now is impossible to burst down. And IG, they lose nothing. They get a Dragon.
And really sloppy setup there from NIP, if I'm being completely honest with you. Dredgeline goes wide. Guan ends up being the victim of that, and IG able to capitalize off of that missed position. NIP really just had no business. After Awesome gets chunked, I feel like you aren't really able to escort your Yunara into the fight. And it would have just probably been wiser to give IG their Dragon, which they claim anyway. Second Drake, Sivir has been a character that he has routinely struggled on. As Wei gets his back canceled.
Not a whole lot of vision in this side of the jungle for IG. So unfortunately for Wei, stepping in here and recalling, not fantastic. However, Care in his own jungle does get jumped on by Rookie and actually has to flash away. This Galio still terrifying, but maybe that'll get a lot better, as having a Baron in your pocket does solve a lot of issues. Great wall from Care. Just stalls Photic and Zhui getting involved in this. Hoya zones out Sobero, who's about to lose Mega. Rookie is here, but the Baron is gone. Hoya flashes right on top of Photic, who gets the Wild Growth, who gets the Hero's Entrance, and still dies. Rookie, alone with 4 members of NIP, will find 1, but still go down. And it is 3 kills for NIP, a double kill for Awesome, and a Baron for the Ninjas in Pyjamas.
The team fighting 5v5 manual after that first match had very little of what made NIP so unique at the start of this winter split, and they read through some chapters for sure. This looks like a team that wants to tie up this series.
A team that very well is positioned to do so. Their lead already greater than that IG had in game number 1 when they themselves picked up the first Baron in the game. If you could expand a 6,000 gold lead right now by just cracking the tier 2s, NIP are going to be in a fantastic position. I will point out as well that Sobero, the terror of last game with his almost 3,000 gold lead, now has that very same gift.
Scare them away from even attempting to look in the general direction of this bot side and contest this Dragon. It will be ripped apart by NIP, and now the question of what can they do with this Baron buff is on the horizon. Zhui forced to flash, but does get himself out.
Accomplished, could still accomplish in the LPL, as they have actually reached up pretty darn far. Catching Zhui for a moment.
Got no flash.
And flashless on the Lulu. I wouldn't even be stepping up here as Photic. This is, I will say, a little bit too risky. And NIP, pretty darn confident right now, can do just about anything they want.
Rookie trying to put some pressure in the mid lane and force NIP to respond. He actually will claim this mid turret, so that will be a bit more injection for sure. It feels like NIP as an org definitely have a ceiling on them that a lot of people have placed there just because they haven't really been able to break past that point as an org in placements, but they're looking to do that right now. Weaver's Wall barely avoided by Photic, but a TP is coming in nonetheless.
Photic already having to play incredibly safe. Everything gets burned to keep him alive. And Shui pays for it. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's not funny. I know that it's really, really sad for Lulu to expire on my screen. But, you know, something about it goes. The better odds that IG win this one. And right now, he's a little over halfway done. He's already got the boots completed from...
NIP going toward the Baron might put a wrench in that theory, at least for the time being, Dia.
Yes, that's true. There is, you know, some complicated math at work here. The more dragons and barons that NIP get, I think that there's some sort of, maybe not subtraction, but division going on here, multiplication by some sort of weird number. I want to say that I wasn't very good at math. I was okay at math.
You know,
it's been a hot second since I was in a math class.
Sivir is proving a little bit arduous to work through for NIP.
Ooh, Awesome steps up though and just deletes Wei's health bar. He's gonna get popped right into the GA and right out of it as well. We talked about the Sivir win condition, but because Yunara is kind of crazy herself, I did forget about how squishy Wei really is in context. Rookie gonna look for an engage right now, but Awesome is very comfortable playing on the edge as well. The fact that Zhuo has absolutely no problem finding engages, being confident on them, is really nice for NIP as well. Wei does get engaged on, but it's Hoya, weirdly enough, who's just under half HP. Sobero chasing him down right now, looking for a fight, is gonna flash forward, find a double stun. Rookie's over the wall, he taunts too. Awesome is 200 HP and will be taken down, but a Grim Deliverance takes Guan right into the back line on top of Photic. He is unfortunately alone as Guan will be once again popped into the res and finally taken out. Rookie.
I mean, Rookie, Sobero, you said it. They're the guys that managed to find their way onto Awesome. Sobero throws the house literally at Awesome to take down the Yunara.
Aaron pit, but honestly, this timing is pretty good. IG do not have the tankiness, do not have the engage that they did moments ago, and Wei actually might be found. Hoya's right on top of him. In comes the Weaver's Wall, and over it goes Wei, booped back by the Talia. He's finally taken down, but Awesome is alone in the pit with Sobero, and he's got no flash. He's deleted as well, and NIP, they get the jungler, but they lose their AD carry. Yeah, that was a bit of an awkward fight because Awesome is just sitting in the Baron pit and then trying to leave the Baron pit and going, I mean, what are we doing here, guys? Right now, Rookie may be asking himself the same question. He's alone with 3 people as the Baron goes down. I suppose at this point, he's pretty well informed. What they're doing is trading his life away for the Baron, and despite that, he is living a weirdly long time.
Okay. I mean, that pulls attention.
Yep. He's almost 100% loaded on the victory screen. And that terrifies me.
Oh, teleport coming in. They're
This
pinching
them.
them.
Hoya, he could actually find Photic. Look at the AD carry. Photic actually whips out the cleanse. He is untouched and now starting to move forward with the rest of IG as NIP back away. It is Sobero in the backline who slams Zhuo and Awesome against the wall. Rookie commits but will be taken down. It is a battle of AD carries as Photic does not have the space he had before. Hoya flashes on top of him. Zhuo hooks him in and finishes him off, and NIP reclaim control of this game with a masterful team fight.
And you can see Shui is the only one left alive. He's going to try and hold the wave, but that is not the only lane that NIP can look to end the game on. They get themselves toward the bot lane. Awesome changes his damage from the mid lane inhibitor to the bot lane one. Shui, the only one alive for the next 30 seconds. He still has the Baron buff. If a wave comes in, he might be able to delay it, but I don't feel like the chances and the odds are in IG's favor.
Doing everything he possibly can It will complete the ace for NIP. And by the looks of it, Quacks, it will complete the game for NIP, as much like in the Knight's Road.
Factor that pushes IG's decision to lock this in for Wei over the edge. You need high DPS, and I think IG have drafted a comp that accomplishes that. Sobero, Wei, and Photic will all be really high in the damage department. Rookie and Zhui
Sort of just disappeared to me. But Rek'Sai, in lane, pretty good matchup up against the Ambessa. This maybe not so comfortable for Care. Flash forward from Rookie right at the border of the tower and instantly finished off. First blood goes to Wei. So will he show up in a lane? I mean, I like the idea of picking up the dragon as well, but Guwon has got to get involved somewhere, and it's incredibly difficult to gank these lanes. I sympathize, especially ganking a Lissandra lane, but right now, Guwon is losing control of the tempo of this match, and he might even turn into a dive bot side as Wei's already here. Guwon is ages away, and underneath the tower, it's a double knock-up for Zhui. Another double knock-up for Wei, and Zhuo, last alive in the bot lane, will eventually fall to the last auto from Photic. That is beautifully, and I mean beautifully executed.
Look for the two. With Photic in the area and Wei just that much stronger than Guwon, despite the kill onto Rookie, a majority of the grubs go over to Invictus Gaming in the end, Dia.
That's actually...
How they use it is a big question that is plaguing my mind right now.
But, you know, it's Lee Sin. Baron secures pretty good.
That is true.
There's always that. Photic diving on Awesome right now. It is just going to be a little bit of damage. Not the kill, surely. Not the kill. Awesome backs away under the tower, but...
Oh, God.
We've brought the party, and now it's the kill. Now it's the kill, baby. Rookie flashes forward, secures that, ults Zhuo, and picks up a double kill in the bot lane. We are back to mid-jungle kingdom, Quacks.
We absolutely are. IG playing to their strengths in NIP. They're going to look for a response, but Sobero has flash, has ultimate, and he has the understanding that a dive is about to commence.
Nice sidestep from Care does deny Sobero's escape and should finish off the kill. A charm lands underneath the tower, and NIP...
By abandoning it and giving Care over some of those plates, so does allow the Lissandra to make that roam worth it.
Got ult in 10 seconds. Nice flash forward from Zhui. The Alistar making the difference once again as Sobero teleports into the backline. He is all over NIP. Rookie's in here with Zhuo, taking him down inside the pit. Sobero survives the Rek'Sai ult with 1 HP, and Awesome is unlikely to meet the same fate as he will not survive.
IG to go onto this top side and basically get a free Herald for themselves. And because of this, they claim the Herald, they're going to be able to throw this in mid, throw this in bot, and get free passage for the next dragon that comes up in about a minute. It is really good macro sense
as well, and it makes you wonder, what is Guwon really supposed to do? Is he ulting a Kai'Sa that ults out? Is he ulting an Alistar for real? Is he ulting Sobero? I mean, in a side lane like this, it's going to work. In a team fight, it's going to be a little bit more awkward. Sobero underneath his tower will fall. A good news story for NIP, but the Rift Herald that you talked about earlier, channeled in the mid lane, is likely going to let this tower fall as well. And I will trade my top laner for a mid lane tower all day, every day. All respect to my top laner.
Still 20 seconds, though, until Sobero comes up for now. It is a 4v5 with Hoya having that teleport. If NIP can pull the trigger really soon, they could look to try and have an advantageous fight, but they've got to do it ASAP. They're not going to commit to it, and IG, at less than 20 minutes into the game, Dia, are putting themselves at soul point.
Your kill range, he's in kill range! Care, Dragon's range gets finished off. God, you cannot step up to these two.
You can't escape it either. I mean, Care's got 3 damn dashes plus a flash, and he can't escape the mid-jungle of IG. It is such a dangerous game for them to play, but now they're going to try and capitalize, look for a trade.
Numbers advantage might work in their favor, but like you said, they had to pull the trigger soon, and it's been a few too many seconds. Forward goes Wei, forward goes Rookie. Hoya escaping their clutches just in the nick of time as Guwon now tries to engage onto Photic. Hoya's going to follow this up. They do find the AD carry. It is a good answer for NIP, and one that lets them continue walking forward. Zhui going to be fed directly to Awesome.
In there from NIP, understanding that Photic was a bit too far out of position. They do get themselves a kill that ends up turning into 2 as Zhui gives his life as well.
And I will highlight, all of that definitely caught Photic by surprise as well. He dies with flash and ult up. There were absolutely universes where this Kai'Sa lives. I'm not so sure that there are universes where Care lives. That seems a little bit less likely. Zhui just waiting on the last pulverize to help Guwan be taken out of the lobby, but that gets turned around pretty darn quickly as a turret helps out Guwan, securing a double kill at the end of that particular overchase by IG. That looked a bit silly, as IG definitely were in control of that until they weren't.
Yeah. Dragon will be started up. You can see how careful NIP are about approaching this, because Guwan, or rather Hoya, is on the flank.
Guwan's right next to the Dragon now, so NIP, they know where their bread is buttered. They want that objective. Denying the soul here to IG is all that they need, but Lee Sin's got some pretty good objectives secure. You got to keep him off this. Zhui is going to get in there. Sobero right next to the objective. Rookie pops his ultimate. Care goes down, and so does the Dragon. Ultimately, though, Awesome has to get away from Sobero. Will jump backwards, but just to be finished off by Wei and an IG who secure the Dragon and the team fight.
Yup, NIP keep their eyes on the prize, and everyone, wow, I'm jumbling my words, but NIP end up going down. IG managed to secure themselves the soul.
The objective secure by Lee Sin was what I had my eyes on there. Just watching him hit the resonating strike into Smite. It's a gorgeous thing, and it's saved many, many a jungler. Unfortunately, it's not going to save Guwan, because he doesn't have those particular abilities. Instead, that is going to be a nice Dragon's Kick that serves Awesome right up to the rest of IG. And you know what? I was pretty calm going into that, because I thought, what's the worst that could happen? Could NIP really, really all die here? And they did. They died a lot.
Yep. They died really fast as well. IG, Baron secure, Soul secure, and an extra bit of safety, particularly for Wei, having that Guardian Angel, means that IG can look for these more daring, aggressive plays.
Up in the top side jungle of NIP, or I should say formerly of NIP, they can see nothing.
Nope. Now NIP, a lot of gray screens, I feel, are what I'm seeing in their future. Maybe a defeat screen at the end. IG, 8.5k gold ahead, but they're going to look for something crazy.
Jared tries to reverse things, but does have to get back to the back line. Join up with Awesome, who are just pumping damage into Zhui, who through the Unbreakable Will takes basically none of it. Photic commits into the back line with Sobero, and a slow front to back favors IG in every way. A triple kill goes the way of Photic, and IG are looking down at what could be the end of this game. It's just Care left alive, and a solo Ahri can only do so much.
And IG, one win away from completing their revenge. IG, with so many doubts and questions by everyone in the LPL community, one win away from shutting those up and showing everybody that they still have the sauce.
Yeah, and the fact that you lock in Jax into Sion as well actually opens up the map for IG in a way that I think NIP were trying to shut down. You pick Sion and you go, you're not really going to go top into a Sion, but you pick Jax and...
Kind of in his element, going on a champion like this and just giving the ball over to Awesome and Guwan to take and hopefully save NIP from elimination.
Guwan's baited this in. Photic already out, but a magical
Holy
journey is
moly.
followed by Guwan. Awesome follows him as well, but not in time to save his life, but in time to trade a kill. Goes on forward looking for damage on Rookie, who's already level 6 and has moved down to the bot side, but will not be able to take him out as well. 1 for 2 in the favor of IG, and, you know, if Wei lands a couple more cleavers, maybe a nice auto, he could make it a 1 for 3, but he does not.
Attempts at looking for side lane plays, and Exhibit A was right there. Nonetheless, though, start up a fight. So getting control of this river is super integral as Sobero going to dodge out on all of the damage.
Wow.
NIP attempts to lay onto him and gets away scot-free, but with that attempt by NIP, they give up control of the river.
I believe that's 2 Void Grubs now secured. I suppose we'll see the count soon. But NIP, oh boy, could, should, would look for the 3rd, except for the fact that Rookie shows up exactly on schedule. Zhuo is going to get caught by the Tempered Fate. Already, Supreme Display of Talent has been used, but it is Rookie with the snipe on wild cards that picks up a kill.
Yeah, IG get themselves a pick. Decide not to overgreed or push their luck, and will give the last scrub.
Normally we see the Destiny used every couple of minutes. You're able to find a nice pick with it. Rookie's kind of just ripping this one, and Sobero, unfortunately, no flash for him, is going to get ganked pretty darn quickly, so a little bit more presence shown by Guwan.
If he were killed, Dragon gonna go over to IG, no problem. Guwan is too low to fight, and really no response possible on the other side of the map. We're going to see Wei look for a reset, return to his topside camps, and yep, Rookie is looking for any excuse to influence the map at this point, especially with Wei now hitting that big Heartsteel power spike.
Flash on top of Rookie.
Wow.
Zhuo follows it up, but that is a very easy answer back. Once again, a beautiful Tempered Fate to be landed by Zhuo. Very happy to see this champion back in his hands. And Hoya chasing down Rookie. Might actually be able to finish him off. The last hit will belong to Care. And the ninjas in pajamas finally pull off Mission Impossible.
And this is exactly what we saw in game number 3, Dia, where IG managed to punish a small mistake from Ninjas in Pajamas. They get the Herald. They transition that into a Dragon. It's a domino effect being created, and now the dominoes might be toppling.
Nice mission by Rookie pulled off. The assassination works out. No jungler for NIP, and now looking for the next gold card. Won't be able to land it before Care goes down. Or sorry, but before Care picks up a kill. But now as he looks on forward, it is IG caught on the wrong side of the map as the Ninjas in Pajamas look for them. Rookie sitting in the bush, waiting for another assassination. He's going to be watching Sobero on the exit. Zhuo comes back in to try and make sure that his exit is secure. Sobero flashes the wall, and Rookie is also out of there for those of you who
track where IG is going. If IG can't get control of that, it feels really difficult for them to say they have control of that part of the area.
Insta cleanse and instant response by Zhuo. Almost gets the full Pop Blossom, but is shut down just before. In comes the flank, and Hoya, unfortunately, with the unstoppable onslaught, lands right in the middle of everyone. Guwan does connect onto at least one member with the Supreme Display of Talent, but now is just left as mid laner to die as Care will fall. IG controlling the pace of this fight, dodging or taking down all of the biggest threats and cooldowns on NIP.
Only perplexing to me is now, I mean, IG not super quick on the trigger with the immediate aftermath of winning that fight, which means they're going to have to trade the objectives rather than taking the Dragon and then transitioning that into the Herald, or vice versa. So NIP going to get their first Drake of the game. The question is, where is Wei going to pull his attention toward with this Herald? And it looks like that might just be answered immediately.
Yeah, I think we're finding out pretty darn quickly. Rift Herald gets popped up top side. Actually, might not even get the chance to hit this tower, so they're just going to manually pilot this one over to turret number 2.
Pills are going to be more and more reliant on going for that Dragon and having that soul be their win con.
Nice catch. Photic, no options to get out of here, is going to be rended and taken down. Awesome. May not have snowballed too early on the Kalista, but she's still doing Kalista things right now, and it is easy to assassinate an AD carry like that. The numbers advantage for NIP lets them take down this turret, and perhaps a little bit more should IG overstep. But note that IG are just playing defense right now. Fortunately, Photic is trying to make up for his mistakes earlier, and Guan absorbs the majority of that.
And I think now with Rookie, with that ultimate, he doesn't have to be right in the face of the person that he wants to gold card. Closing the scaling opportunity in the Dragon is your biggest bet at being able to get control of this game. But Rookie with the ult is just going to be able to see everything.
Destiny got used just to scout everybody out, and NIP commit Zhuo up there, they commit Guan up there, they commit Awesome up there, and now they've just been tempered faded on. Awesome will have to flash away as Blossom connects onto Wei, but Sobero is right into the backline with a huge stun. Another one connects from Shui onto Guan, who will fall, and Hoya underneath the tower manages to get away with his life, but
we're on the chopping block. I'm surprised they only lost one given the massive stun from Sobero.
Hoya wants to stop this. They need to stop this. NIP get into the pit as Care finds an assassination onto Shui. Baron goes down, but Sobero has found the backline. He's right on top of Awesome, who on Kalista has now started moving forward, rending him for his entire health bar. It will be Sobero and Wei who fall next, leaving IG with just 2 Barons left.
Buffs by eliminating it off of IG members.
Yeah, and importantly, getting the buff off of somebody like Sobero is really nice as well.
Yeah.
Because on a split pushing Jax, I believe.
Yeah. IG now having a bit of a wrench thrown in their plans. It's going to be a bit difficult to come back from this because you're not going to be able to get Soul as a win con. NIP are now on Soul Point, so it just means that you have to pay more attention to this bot side from here on out.
Wei just gets to ignore Hoya for a quick second and deal just about a third of his HP. But we're gearing up for a fight. IG very clearly want it, and it looks like Zhuo wants this as well. Could go for a Pop Blossom at any time. Sends out the minion as a little fishing experiment.
Doesn't face check too much into Guan here as Wei. This is a tanky Mundo, but unfortunately Awesome is Kalista. And it feels like the front line is a little bit fake here for IG as Destiny is popped. Care is he found.
Rookie actually ulted for this as well, so the fact that Care gets away, pretty big. Wei might not be so lucky. Hoya does jump right on top of him, but Wei pops his ult in time and is receiving an insane amount of regen. Rookie proxying the wave in the meantime is just buying a little bit of space for IG to continue this fight. Sobero goes over the wall looking for engagement, gets tempered, faded as Wei has to flash away. Zhuo follows him up, looks for the Pop Blossom, finds 2, but goes down for it as Photic, untouched in this backline, gets flashed on by Zhuo and takes him down immediately. Photic's positioning so safe as Rookie gets to move on forward, find a gold card, find a kill, and unleash his team onto the map. Sobero leaping on top of Care, who, yes, flashes away, yes, survives, but can do nothing in the face of IG.
Deny the soul away from NIP. There's so much standing gold, so many objectives that IG could take on the map. But they are going to opt to deny the big buff that could put NIP back into this game for the time being.
Just got picked apart in the end by some really nice placements and, again, positioning by IG. Big fan of the way that Photic was able to play the last engagement. Guwan does go in for a quick trade on Rookie, gets stunned, but that's all that he sees before the Baron ultimately goes down, and IG just control this entire area of the map. The dual lane push that we talked about with Destiny available just makes this completely unstoppable. 4 members of IG move into the top side, while Awesome has been kept in mid lane this whole time just to clear away these minions. Wei gets to step right up to Hoya. Inhibitor on the menu right now, and NIP, for as much as they group up, can do nothing to stop it. Awesome starts sending in spears. This has to be the moment for NIP should they choose to pick a fight right now, and Hoya's used his first bit of engage to start that on a Wei that is now full HP. Rookie wasn't even tempted to that fight. He took mid lane tower.
And now they're looking to siege onto this mid lane inhibitor. All of IG have rotated toward the mid lane. They're looking for the double inhib, as well as the gold cards coming from so far away. My man is a sharpshooter with these. Have to let this turret fall, so IG just slowly but surely closing their grasp around this game.
Way's able to step up underneath the tower and just buy space for his team to lay in. Auto after auto. Whoa does go for the engage, but it's onto Way and a golden rookie who, popping out of the Zanyas, does turn right back around and fire at Hoya. Way again soaking up damage from everyone as Way flashes forward, letting Photic Valkyrie on and pick up the kill. Rookie is looking for the engage and will find one as he gets flashed on by Awesome and Guwon, but it's not going to be enough for NIP to pick up the kill. Now finally they've isolated Rookie. Finally they will find an answer, but it's Sobero who is left alive, hitting the Nexus, hitting the AD carry, and taking IG to a 3-1 victory.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.